While I originally thought giving this speech on the final day of speeches would be a good thing, I soon came to the conclusion that it's not, especially after the speaker gives his. Everyone has already hit on the points that I wanted to make. Lisa has given us all the life lessons. Ed has used all the good words, some of which I'm still looking up in the dictionary. And let's be real, everyone is ready for farewell speeches to be over with. And with that being said, I'll do my best to hurry this along. As a freshman, everyone warns us that time will fly by. And there is merit to that, except on days like today, and probably later tonight when it feels like session will never end and we're still debating energy. I'd be remiss if I didn't give thanks to all of those who played a significant role or made a lasting impression during my time here. While most of my gratitude will be implied, some of these individuals have unique stories that accompany my appreciation, so please indulge me as I share some of that with you, starting with Mom and Dad. Sorry. Back in 2010, I have the worst cry face. I did not want to do this. Sorry. Okay. Back in 2010, I was a 23-year-old full-time waitress, part-time district rep for Senator Alan Sanborn, and working on my master's degree on weekends. I had this crazy idea to go home and convince my mom to run for this seat. Selfishly, I was looking for a way to add some campaign experience to my resume. I made the pitch to my parents and let them mull it over, and then shortly after some deliberation, they came up with this crazy idea that I should do it. Looking at them, I was like, well, I have nothing to lose and all the experience to gain. So that's where it began. I have them to thank for planting that crazy idea and making my far-fetched dream a reality. I also want to acknowledge the original crew, Senator Sanborn, Andy Dorr, Amy Maxwell, Kyle Kaminsky, and Lita Howard, for believing in me and encouraging me, and to all of my family and friends who knocked on countless doors, walked in all those parades, which were usually the mornings after the best specials in the beverage tent, so I appreciate that. And especially my younger brother, Chucky, and all of his friends. Fast forward a few months after the election in those parades, I was headed here to freshman orientation. I can still remember the feeling driving down Michigan Avenue towards the Capitol and seeing it in the distance. Literally, it gave me goosebumps. Granted, I had worked in this building before, but something was new. I realized right then and there that this job was bigger than me. Thank you to my entire staff and the entire staff here who works day and night to make this place operational and functional on a daily basis, and especially to our sergeants who keep us safe. And especially Sergeant Dixon for all those years of telling me I need to wash my car. I do live on a dirt road, but your message is starting to resonate. I do contemplate going to the car wash before I drive here, but I don't actually go. So at least I think about it. To my inaugural class and those that I served with in the '96 legislature, thank you. We took some really tough votes. During that time, I realized who my true friends were and how cruel grown adults can be. I could go on and on referencing negativity and comments from colleagues and constituents alike, Facebook posts, letters to the editor, and my favorite, the unpleasant encounters in the grocery store when you're really far away from the checkout. But you get the point. And to those people, I also say thank you. You provided me with the prime example of what not to be like. Your words made me stronger, more determined, and completely convinced that what we were doing here in Lansing was right. Thank you to Speaker Bolger. You saw something in me that I never thought I'd be prepared or qualified for. You asked me to chair the Natural Resource Committee. At first, I was totally skeptical of my ability, because what does I was 25 at the time, 25-year-old from Southeast Michigan know about natural resources in Michigan? But I was up for the challenge. And thank you, Speaker Cotter, for allowing me to continue being the chairwoman of that committee. The policies that I've worked on, I've developed a strong passion for. To the interest groups who were so patient and worked deliberately with me to bring me up to speed on the issues, I thank you. To the departments for being readily available, most times, not all times, for answering tough questions, my committee clerk, Joy Brewer, and the policy staff, Steve Daunt and Katie Abraham, you guys are rock stars. To other members of the J-Team, I'm grateful for the example you set and the courage and leadership you exuded on a daily basis. To my Macomb colleagues, I found when I introduced myself to people in Lansing and said I was from Macomb, I got a really weird expression. It was one of those, oh, kind of like, are you packing right now, or are you gonna cuss me out? What's going on? And after working with all of you for the past 6 years, I understand why. We truly are a group of misfits. We are composed of obnoxious, straight to the point, in your face, Pete Lucido, unfiltered individuals, and like a family, we tend to disagree and fight with one another, but we always have each other's back, and I appreciate that. Our passion for Macomb County is unwavering, and it has truly been a privilege to serve with all of you. And Pete Lund, even though you drove me absolutely crazy, keeping me on task during even years, I'm grateful for you. Can't forget my St. Clair delegation, Paul, Phil, and Dan. You're much less dramatic in comparison, and I've enjoyed working with you. In a climate where turnover is often and our time here is brief, it's very difficult not to entertain preconceived notions of individuals based off of their previous jobs or political affiliations. Thankfully, I learned quickly that these notions were baseless and had proved me wrong on 2 specific occasions. In regards to these 2 people, I now consider my closest colleagues here in Lansing. The first, John Kivala. When I found out you'd be serving on the Natural Resource Committee, I did a quick Google search, saw a picture of him with President Obama, and thought to myself, great, someone from the UP who likes Obama and is going to be influencing environmental policy. So this is definitely going to make things interesting. And he did just that. He surprised me with his positions on policy and willingness to work together to accomplish a common goal. It wasn't until the Detroit Recovery Package that which I personally believe was our greatest legislative accomplishment, that I realized you are more than a colleague, you are a friend. You've helped me make some tough decisions, especially lately, and you've always been there to help me and navigate me through the process. I'll be forever grateful for your loyalty and support. The second, Tom Leonard. You've been my seatmate for 4 years. Probably 4 years too long, and only a handful of us know the real secret behind that arrangement. Obviously, after describing my Macomb County colleagues, you can see why I was uncertain of the totally filtered, non-swearing, conservative, coffee-drinking, upcoming political star. It was over time that I realized your work ethic, integrity, and leadership characteristics were undeniable. And you may be one of the most humble people I know, although you do have your moments. I let you have those moments. Glad you get over them quickly. Thank you for subjecting me to being your seatmate for the past 4 years. I'd say your mentor, which is me, did a pretty good job. Obviously, I've learned a lot during my time here. Through various experiences and challenges, I've met a lot of great people and made relationships that I know will last a lifetime. To my staff, you've been great. At any time and day of the week, you're always there. You are my therapist, which you can send me a bill for that, my confidants, and you picked me up and brushed me off after I stumbled countless times in this job. You are the reason for my success. So Eric Ventimiglia, James Beal, Laura Haynes, and Amy Smith, thank you. Holly Hughes and Judson Shirley Gilbert, I will always think of you in those times that we spent laughing so hard that our stomachs hurt. Senator Stamas, sorry. There's a chain here, so you'll get why I get emotional. Thank you for hiring Megan Kite and Jason Griffin. Megan introduced me to Griff, and Griff introduced me to Sam, the man who's recently been promoted to husband, and it is pretty cool to have one of those now. So with Sam, which I think he's watching in his office, thank you for tolerating me and supporting me. I ran for office because I was watching my friends and family leave this state, and I was considering leaving as well. While I'm proud to say some of them have come home, they're not all back yet, so there's still work to do. And I trust that the 99th legislature will continue that progress of making Michigan great again. I had to, I'm sorry. District 32, thank you for taking a chance on the 23-year-old waitress. It's truly been a privilege to serve you all. In conclusion, I am almost done. If you remember anything from this speech, not my cry face, but please take away this. Always give credit where credit is due. Know that good policy always begins with a foundation of respect for this process and for one another. Your success is not measured by your level of education or your intelligence, but rather integrity and principle. be bold, act purposefully, and most importantly, fire up chips. Thank you.